Bienvenue à cette émission spéciale qui met en vedette la plus ambitieuse des blondes, Madonna. Madonna a accordé à Musique Plus une entrevue exclusive pour nous parler de son plus récent album qui a pour titre Bedtime Stories, un album dans lequel elle nous montre un côté plus doux de sa personnalité. Elle nous a donné un rendez-vous dans un de ses hôtels préférés de Los Angeles, le St. James. C'est l'auto de Madonna. Bonjour Madonna.
Bonjour.
Ça va bien?
Oui.
You gave us a meeting in this hotel, the St. James Hotel here in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Does this place have a special meaning for you?
No, it's just close to my house.
Yeah?
No, I like it because there's lots of imitation Tamara de Lempicas, who's actually one of my favorite painters.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Art Deco, which is the design of it. As far as hotels go in Los Angeles, I think it's one of the prettier ones.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
On your latest album, we discover a very soft and romantic woman in the lyrics. Where's the bad girl?
Right in front of you.
You felt like putting aside, you know...
Well, I think that part of me is, I mean, that side of me is still in, like, a song, for instance, like Human Nature,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But I didn't want to give the critics any sort of ammunition. And let's just say that part of my personality is in hibernation.
Mm-hmm.
At least this is for the sake of my record.
So you're showing the nice side of you.
It's not that I'm showing the nice side of me, it's just that, I mean, I think that there's a lot of different sides to every human being, mm-hmm. and everybody has lots of different sides with their personality, and it really, a lot of it has to do with the mood you're in, right? So, I suppose I was in a romantic mood when I was writing it.
Things haven't been the same since you came into my life.
You said that making this album has been a true test to your stability and sanity.
Mm.
What is that so difficult?
That was only dealing with the personalities of all the producers I was working with. They all had a really big problem with showing up on time.
Oh, yeah?
Which is one of my pet peeves. Sometimes I couldn't even find them.
Really?
Yes. So every day it was like I had to count to 10, take a deep breath, and try to get different imagery going in my head besides strangulation, stuff like that. That was absolutely a like reference to the working relationship I had with everyone, because I worked with 4 different producers and they were all very young. Just put it like that.
You had to babysit them.
Yes.
So throughout the album, there's a beautiful mood. This same mood is there all along. How did you succeed doing that since you were working with different producers?
Since they were all driving me cuckoo? Well, because when I wrote the songs,
mm-hmm.
I took time with each of them, and it was a much less pressured environment. It wasn't the same as actually going into the studio, hiring musicians. The actual writing of the songs and the lyrics and the mood of them was done in a much more relaxed environment. Once I'd written all the songs, the trouble started when we went into the studio and there was much more scheduled time.
The last time you put out an album, Erotica,
mm-hmm.
it was out at the same time than a movie and your sex book. This time, it's the music. No
just the music, yeah.
Is that the way you wanted it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yes.
No distraction.
Exactly.
So, I know you don't regret your sex book at all, but do you regret putting the book at the same time?
Yes.
The album? Yeah?
Too much information.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So people focused on that more?
Yeah, definitely.
Erotica. romance. I'd like to put you in a trance.
Did you think people would follow you more?
I didn't think that I knew that there was going to be people that were, to a certain extent, outraged, but I didn't think it was going to be that big so much.
I heard you say recently that you wouldn't sing anymore songs like Material Girl or Into the Groove. Does that mean that like some of your songs don't grow very well?
Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, I didn't write Material Girl, so maybe that's why.
How about Into the Groove?
Well, Into the Groove I could probably see myself doing, but Material Girl, I just couldn't. It would just be a joke. I'd start laughing and I couldn't sing it.
Is it your sworn testimony that by coincidence alone you happened to date both Andrew Marsh, who died from a combination of sex and drugs, and the doctor who treated him for drug poisoning?
Portland's a small city. I even dated a man who dated a woman you dated.
Why is it so important for you to make it as an actress?
It's important for me to be able to express myself as an actress, just like it is as a singer. And it's an art form that I'm inspired by and interested in. So when I cease to be, then I won't do it anymore. But I think it's an incredible medium, and I respect it. So.
You also want to be a director?
Yeah.
Do you know which kind of movie you'd like to direct?
A good one. No, I don't really. I mean, I think it would probably be something that I could relate to, and personally, something that I knew about, a subject that I knew about. Yeah.
I know that you haven't been very satisfied with some movies that you've made in the past. Since you would like to be a director, would you direct a movie that you're playing in?
No.
No?
That's too much work.
But you would maybe be more satisfied and have control?
No, but I think to be an actress, you have to let go of all kinds of control and just completely let go and forget about everyone in the room and be very submissive. And to be a director, it's completely the opposite. You have to know everything that's going on and be completely in control and have a very specific point of view and very dominant, and you're running the ship, and it's two different hats to wear, and I wouldn't want to wear both of them. I think one would suffer.
So you will be playing in other movies next year?
Yeah.
So you trust these new directors you'll be working with?
Not necessarily.
What's the next movie you'll be in?
I just did a movie called 4 Rooms that Allison Anders directed. It's a Quentin Tarantino script, and he's producing the whole thing, and he's editing it. And he hired 4 different directors to direct all the segments.
And so far, you should be satisfied?
Yeah, actually, I think it went, I mean, the shoot was difficult. It already happened. But I think I did a good job, so we'll see.
Do you think you're capable of just answering the questions put to you?
I'm just trying to explain myself.
You live in Los Angeles, Miami, New York. Is this place, is Los Angeles a place where you like to be? No? Why not?
I'm not very inspired by it as a city. Culturally, I think that New York has much more to offer, and also Miami. And also in New York, I feel very alienated here. Everything's really spread out, and there doesn't seem to be any center of the city, or there's not a lot of art to go and see, not a lot of theater. There's just, when I'm in New York, I'm out every night. There's always something to do. When I'm in LA, I can't find anything to do. Spend a lot of time in my house.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And in Miami?
Miami's great. Miami's like my place to escape, to get away. It's, the Latin culture in Miami is wonderful. So I love it down there.
secret you're being baptized. I was wondering if you came to peace with your Catholic upbringing.
The holy water wasn't necessarily that I was being baptized. It's like kind of like a cleansing, and it's not specific religiously. It actually has very little to do with Catholicism, and it's just, I mean, water itself is a symbol of birth or rebirth, and I think it probably has more to do with, as I said earlier, just a kind of spirituality that draws from many religions, not necessarily Catholicism.
How do you fulfill your spiritual needs?
Through my work, through my writing, yeah, through my relationships with people.
Some of them can really help you see clearly in life.
Sure.
And are there people that you met recently, or they've been there all along?
It depends. I mean, there are people that I've known for a long time. There are people that I come to know that are very spiritually evolved and have influenced me. And then, as far as my work goes, the process of writing is a very cathartic and reflective, and can also be very spiritual. Like, you can discover things as you're writing. They can bring you a certain amount of tranquility, peace, or happiness.
Happiness lies in your own hands. It took me much too long.
In Secret, you're saying happiness lies in your own hands. Is this something you discovered very recently?
I think I probably knew it all along, but I think the simplest truths in our lives are like right in front of our noses, and sometimes it takes a long time before you can actually recognize it, and then when you do, you say, but that's so simple, and but why didn't I just apply that to my life? Yeah.
Well, love has been a big inspiration throughout the album. I know you're thinking about having children also. Do you think you're ready to do that soon?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
And do you think you're ready to make the sacrifices also that you might, I don't know, you love working so much, you might have to put some stuff away?
Uh-huh. I look forward to making those sacrifices.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And having a quiet life.
Well, I don't know if it'll be so quiet. I think there's probably going to be a lot of screaming.
Yeah. What kind of mother do you think you're going to be?
I don't know. I think I'll just learn as I go.
There's a lot of talking about back home in Quebec that your mother comes from Quebec. How much of it is true?
It's true.
Yeah?
Not my mother, my grandmother.
She was living in Quebec.
Well, that's where her family comes from.
Okay.
But my mother grew up in Michigan. But it's true.
Since your mother died when you were very young, I was wondering if you're in peace with death, if you know a lot about death, if you're afraid of it.
I don't know anything about death since I've never died. But I've certainly been around it since a very young age. And I've had, I mean, I seem to be surrounded by it to a certain extent because of AIDS. A lot of my friends have died of AIDS, and when I was younger, my mother died, then my uncle died, and then my grandfather died. It seemed like everyone was dying all the time, so death was this kind of obsession, strange obsession that I had because it was so mysterious, and it always took away the people that I loved. So yes, I am afraid of it, but I think as I grow older and the more that I know, I think the less afraid of it I am.
What do you think happens after?
I think that your soul goes somewhere else, that you're reincarnated. Yeah.
So you've had previous lives?
Definitely.
Think About is the next single on the album?
Yeah.
It sounds like a farewell song. You wrote the lyrics?
Mm-hmm. It's funny, everybody has different reactions. One, I mean, it's meant to be a love song, farewell song to someone that I loved.
Mm-hmm.
But lots of people have heard it and said that they thought that it was like suicidal, or that I was looking in the mirror and saying goodbye to a certain part of my life or a certain side of me. I never thought about it that way, quite frankly, when I was writing it. I think that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I wrote it specifically about someone.
I've always been in love with you. Guess you've always known you took my love for granted. Why, oh why, the show is over, say goodbye.
What do you think is misunderstood about Madonna?
There's that question. Oh. Why don't you tell me, just to make it more interesting?
Okay.
Because everyone always asks me that.
Yeah.
Like, what's the biggest misunderstanding or miscalculation? Now that you've sat here and talked to me, now that you know me completely.
I
what do
think
you
I think you're a much more sensitive person than you show.
How about I'm a much more sensitive person than people would like to think that I am? I think that I show a lot of sensitivity.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe they don't see it.
They don't want to see it.
Why do they prefer when you're strong and...
I don't think it's that they prefer. I just think that when you become a celebrity or an icon, it's too difficult for people to endow you with more than one characteristic. You're either the nice girl or the bitch or this or the that, but you can't be a full human being, which is certainly what I am.
And there's a lot to explore still for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, seems like people look back, you're already somewhere else.
Exactly. Catch me if you can.
Merci beaucoup, Madonna. Merci pour me dire.
You're welcome.
Something's coming over. Something's coming over. Something's coming over me. My baby's got a secret.
Ben ça y est, j'ai fait mon entrevue avec Madonna. Ça a bien été, même si j'étais pas mal gênée. D'ailleurs, ça devait paraître pendant l'entrevue.
Okay, stand by. You got time code 33, 34, 35, 36. Okay, 37. Speed.
Ouais. Et puis elle, j'ai déjà vu être plus dure en entrevue avec des journalistes, donc je savais pas trop à quoi m'attendre. J'avais peur un petit peu, mais ça a très bien été. C'est pas nous qui avons filmé l'entrevue. Il y avait deux caméras. Une caméra sur moi, une caméra sur Madonna. Et peut donc contrôler l'image comme ça. Il y avait un petit moniteur qui était placé à côté de moi sur le fauteuil. Je pouvais jeter un coup d'œil de temps en temps pour voir si l'image lui plaisait. Et puis après l'entrevue, ben, je lui ai demandé de signer mon disque. Alors j'ai un autographe de Madonna. Puis elle a été très gentille. Elle m'a dit « Nice to meet you ». Elle m'a dit qu'elle aimait beaucoup mes cheveux rouges.
OK. Merci. Nice hair.
Thanks.
Et puis moi, ben, ça a été, je pense, la plus grande entrevue depuis que je suis à Musique Plus. Ça m'a fait très plaisir.